How's it going, everybody? My name is Philip, and today we're going to be reacting to why doesn't MLS have promotion and relegation. Now, as someone that has watched both USL Championship, which is kind of technically considered our second division, and then MLS quite a bit. You've seen me wear jerseys of MLS a lot. I think you probably even see me wear a USL jersey every so often as well. But from my perspective, this is going to be a short video that I'm reacting to, and a lot of it's going to be what I personally believe. I feel like it would be a huge boost in the sport here in the U.S. The one issue that I do see with it though is that we have obviously in England and in every European country actually that has the sport. There's one table. Here in the U.S., there's two. There's the Western and the Eastern Conference because of how big this country is. I don't know about Russia. Maybe Russia. I don't really know. I've never really followed Russian football. But here in the U.S., top two teams or the top team in each conference can move up, automatic promotion, and then the second team that wins the playoff round can also get moved up in both conferences. That's one way that they can do that, so that two teams can go up, two teams go down. Obviously, in at least in England, three teams go down and three teams come up. So obviously, that's gonna have to change. But one of the biggest issues in my eyes is that there's not enough money down in the USL for that to happen. Not that everyone wants to do this, but if you have ESPN Plus, or if you have been on the fence of getting it for whatever reason, you can watch every USL game on ESPN Plus. Apparently MLS as well, but watch a couple of the USL games just to see the stadiums. Pretty much just for the stadiums, because a lot of these teams are playing in 5,000 seat stadiums, if you want to call that a stadium. 5,000 seat little outdoorsy seating area. But they're playing at community colleges. They don't have their own little stadiums here and there. So that whole thing right there is going to have to get completely overhauled. There might be like one or two teams that has kind of a stadium. And I say that because I know with at least Sacramento, they hold about maybe 12,000, maybe. But the majority of that is bleachers. So, I mean, I understand that they've been working on getting their stadium so that they can come into MLS without because of the whole promotion relegation is not a thing in MLS yet, or at all. And so, the fact that a lot of these teams in the USL are playing in like AAA baseball stadiums or community college stadiums, because that's what the Oakland team does, 5,000 seats. The majority around here is about 5,000 seats. Granted, they could put bleachers around, but then they'll be losing the track. So then they can't just put bleachers around for more attendance. And then at least the Oakland A's, the baseball team, they've been having a very difficult time trying to get a new stadium. And that's a professional baseball team that around the Bay Area, if you're an Oakland fan, you love the team. But, if you're on the opposite side, you don't. And it doesn't help that the team has been shit for so long that people have just kind of pushed them into the back of our minds, and we're just like, oh, how'd they do? Okay, yeah, no, they're good. Cool. Anyways, moving on. But it's literally like they have to completely overhaul the USL. They're going to have to completely change everything about it. They have to you need to have a stadium that holds at least 10,000. Because the MLS standards is you need to have a stadium that is soccer specific in the States. So you need to have your own stadium, and the majority of them is at least 18,000, because that's how big the San Jose Earthquake Stadium is. For some reason, that's the biggest that they can do. So, I mean, it's a great stadium. It looks very nice, but the biggest they could do. But in my opinion, they're going to have to completely overhaul and change everything about the USL. The problem with that is I don't think there's that much money in the USL for them to do that. So, I'm interested to see why, at least this video. There was a couple other ones that brought it up. But I'm definitely interested to see what this one says about it. There's some other one, but it was more like interviews, and I felt like that might not be the best. So let's check out this video.
Perhaps one of the most unique aspects of Major League Soccer is the single entity structure. In essence, no team can be promoted or relegated from MLS in the traditional sense.
Yep.
Rather, new teams buy into the league, just as Minnesota and Atlanta United did earlier this year. While single entity is very in keeping with American sports, baseball, basketball and NFL all operate in this way, it remains a contentious issue when it comes to soccer. As a nation, the US currently has 3 major professional soccer leagues: MLS, NASL, and USL Pro.
Also, there's been some more that have popped up. I think USL Pro is just USL Championship now. I don't know when that was rebranded. But then there's also a new one that came out that's called NISA, N-I-S-A. I'll try and find the brand logo or whatever, and I'll put it over here or something like that. But that also popped up. That's where Oakland Roots started. And then, because I think NISA started so they can do promotion relegation. But they've been having a hard time trying to keep teams because they've been moving up to the USL. Anyways, but yeah.
They are not linked in the traditional sense, but they are classified as differing divisions.
Yep.
MLS is considered the first division, while NASL and USL Pro share second division status granted to them by the soccer governing body. USL had previously been considered Division 3, but this was changed in 2017 following a petition by the league.
Okay.
Although the US does not have promotion and relegation, discourse on the matter remains intense. A study last year, commissioned by Silva International Investments, whose head, Ricardo Silva, owns Miami FC in NASL, found that 88% believe that, quote, pro-rel would boost American club soccer.
I think so too.
Advocates for the introduction of pro-rel suggest that not only would it aid sporting integrity, but it would generate billions for the US soccer economy. A report from Deloitte released around the same time as Silva's international study claimed that reworking the soccer pyramid to introduce promotion and relegation could stimulate changes that would benefit the sport top to bottom.
Yeah.
I do think that for the game to realise its full potential in the US, promotion and relegation feels like part of the solution, said Dan Jones of Deloitte's Sports Business Group. However, any change requires the agreement of MLS, who currently accept new teams after a lengthy process of lobbying which includes a detailed business plan. Although the approach seems alien, it was a direct consequence of the landscape in the early 90s. MLS was the byproduct of the US's '94 World Cup bid, in which they committed to starting a professional domestic league. The organisers of MLS, both in alignment with the domestic tradition and in order to generate financing, adopted the American closed league model, with a twist. Rather than buying specific teams, investors would take a stake in the league as a whole, which in turn controlled all of the teams. Those same owners have subsidized the top division in America for years on the understanding they were buying into a closed system. Was this to change, their investments would be unstable. Furthermore, few lower division clubs have the infrastructure to suddenly support top-level football or even something resembling that. NASL has attempted to rival MLS, but the league's financial instability has made that difficult to achieve, with Minnesota leaving to join MLS and Ottawa and Tampa joining USL Pro. A report as recent as late July claimed MLS spurned a $4 billion media rights deal offered by Silva, which demanded the installation of promotion relegation. As was stated to Silva both in person and in a subsequent letter, Major League Soccer is prohibited contractually from engaging in discussions about our media rights with other distributors. We are not in a position, nor are we interested in, engaging with Mr. Silva on his proposal. That was followed by a
Interesting.
joint proposal by Miami FC and Kingston Stockade, a club based in northern New York, in which they filed a claim with the Court of Arbitration for Sport to require the US Soccer Federation to adopt promotion and relegation across all divisions in US soccer, the outcome of which is still to be decided.
I'm not sure I've heard
Although
that yet,
promotion and relegation is not impossible to implement in the US, it looks unlikely to be adopted at the top level in the near future. The consequence of cultural and financial situations, it will no doubt continue to cause discussion in soccer circles across the nation.
Yeah. So the one thing that I definitely have to say after all that, I think that, again, it's going to be very, very difficult for promotion relegation to even become a thing. But another thing that I think would be very good, another reason that I think a lot of people will think that it will be very good, because our owner, the San Jose Earthquakes owner, he's the same guy that screws over the Oakland A's, the baseball team that I talked about previously. So he doesn't seem to really want to put his own money into it as a billionaire. Which, why are you owning a sports team if you don't want to put money into it, you know? But also, because of that, we've been consistently below average. I'll put it that way, with being nice. And I would say average is making it the playoffs, which is mid-table, about 7th place. that is about average. We've been below that for the past decade, almost decade. It's so almost a decade. The last time we won anything was in 2012. So yeah, and then they keep firing GMs, coaches, switching them out, and it hasn't changed. Nothing's changed since then. I mean, we've made the playoffs. We've barely made the playoffs, like maybe 3 times within that 10-year span. So it's like whatever they're doing is not working. They're obviously, you know, especially with how MLS is now, people are buying a lot of good young players to help change what the league is. You know, we're not a retirement league as much as we used to be. And you know, we've done a lot of we've done a lot of development in youth, which is great, and other things, which is great, but then that's not really moving over into the first team. And so if promotion relegation was added into that, obviously the TV deals that come with being in MLS top tier, the extra bonuses that could kind of be brought into it if they win the league or whatever, because I don't know how much the money is now, but staying in MLS, also staying in the top tier for longer, can also benefit your team. So it really pushes the ownership to spend money to keep their team in that top tier league so they can make more money. Then again, I also need to do a reaction on what's going on with Everton. Oh man, what's also going on with Mbappe? Yo, I saw that. I was like, yo, did he? So from what I thought I read, I kind of skimmed through it. I thought like Real Madrid was going to sign him. Like they paid the transfer fee or some shit, because they like filed a complaint with UEFA, and I'm just like, what? Like, if they paid the transfer fee and he decided, I'm staying with PSG, then that's kind of fucked up. And yes, I can understand the complaint. But I guess I never thought that there was like a salary cap. And maybe that's not technically what it is. But maybe there's like a certain amount that you're allowed to do, just so you don't buy all the best players. But I don't know. I need to look more into that. But I definitely think that promotion relegation should happen in the MLS, U.S. But there needs to be a complete overhaul, complete restructure of the USL. And for anyone that wants to be a part of the USL, there needs to be at least, if they're going to try and do it successfully, if there's going to be three tiers. Make it, you know, obviously MLS, USL Championship, and then USL 2, I guess. And then have it so that the minimum requirement is at least a 10,000 seat stadium. At least. Even if it is a bleachered stadium or whatever, if you can't get a 10,000 seat somewhat stadium that's not in a baseball stadium, a AAA baseball stadium, or a community college, then yeah, it's gonna be kind of difficult to be a part of this whole structure, because, like I said, it's just literally watch. Just, you know what? Just don't even bother with ESPN Plus. Go watch it. Go watch like some of the highlights on YouTube and just look at the stadiums. I mean, that's probably the easiest way to do it, because I'm not saying, like, if you want ESPN Plus, it doesn't matter. But like, just go onto YouTube, type in some like Oakland Roots. That's an easy one. Here, Oakland Roots. Literally, that's simple. Go look that up. You probably just type in USL, see a bunch of different stadiums. A lot of them aren't that great, you know. So that's my thing. Change it up that much so that it could possibly, like, if you make it in MLS, you could expand. Put more bleachers, I guess. I don't know. I don't like the idea of bleachers, but I mean, until you have the money to build your own stadium and have the space and have the city approval and have this and that and that whatever to get a stadium, then, you know, I don't know. But it would definitely help in the long run with the league and with ownership and whatnot. So that's just my ideas. Obviously, there's probably a bunch of other things I didn't even think of. But let me know what you guys, how you think it should work, how you think it could work here in the U.S., if it could. Let me know in the comment section below. It's kind of crazy, but it is what it is. But I thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section what else I should react to, and I will see you guys next time.